Well, it is basically done. As you can see, I couldn't wait to try it out. I still need to put in a scraper blade that will stiffen the bottom part of the bucket. I have my lift worked out and all the bracketry. I still have to secure this tree here to support the lift linear actuator. My electrical is already in place from my control box here. You guys can see the other videos on that. And so as far as dumping, it dumps fine. And I measured from the bottom of the plow here to the top of this opening. When the plow is down on the ground, I have about 5-inch clearance. As this goes down to the ground, it tends to curl a little bit like that, so this distance becomes a little less to the ground. But 5 inches is the best that I could get, again, in terms of height, so that I can still use the plow to some degree to push. But as you can see, even if I had to push this amount of dirt right here, that's about 5-6 inches in height. So a little bit would get caught on the front edge here, and a little bit would get caught, most of it would get caught on the back edge of the plow. So it would still work out pretty good. So it's coming along pretty nice. Actually, you can see the bottom of the bucket is didn't really bend, which I'm actually pleasantly surprised there. It does seem to warp a little bit under load with all that dirt on it. This is actually wet sand with grass roots in it, so it's pretty heavy, pretty much what loam would be. Gravel might be a little heavier, so it's working out pretty good so far. Okay, so again, just after the first successful trial, I still have to secure the bar that holds the lift linear actuator. You'll notice that I did not weld this bracket in place. I put it in with bolt, and so I did with this one right here. The reason being is that I don't know if that's the optimal angle of this bar, length and angle of that bracket. So I figured I would just bolt it in. That way I can always change it. It would have been much easier to weld it in, but this way I have flexibility. Again, it seems to be working pretty good. I need to put a scraper bar. As you can see, it survived pretty good. So it's not perfectly straight because when I welded it, especially when I started in this area down here, I overheated it, so it warped like a potato chip, but I was able to straighten it out, and now hopefully it still has strength left. But again, a scraper bar, I will put that on the bottom side. That way I have a little more push into the ground. I'm going to give it a little sharpening. I might even make some kind of a ripper bar with teeth basically that go across the front. I think that for a little more packed dirt, again, I don't expect this to do anything great, anything major digging, but for lightly packed dirt or maybe superficial grass or something like that, I think that that's a good idea. So I haven't again fixed this yet because I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that. I mean, basically I think that's going to be it. I will probably put this angle iron that I have right now bolted in the back here just to hold this from moving around. I will probably put it on this side across right there, weld it in, and then I will, again, I'm reluctant to weld this in because if I wanted to change the linear actuator, then I can change the height, higher or shorter. Right now this is a 6-inch 500-pound lift actuator that I use on my snowblower to lift that off the ground. Again, with the same control boxes there on the near the steering. So probably what I'll do once I have welded another angle iron right here, I will just probably bolt it in, and that should be sufficient to hold it in place. That's actually how I had it previously when I before I started doing this. So it should hold it in enough for it not to move. My crappy welds seem to be holding up. I am just learning how to weld first time. In fact, first time that I've done a project this big with this much welding, and also the first time I use a new MIG welder that I just bought specifically for this project, figuring that it'll get my money back on this and future project. It's a Chicago Electric Harbor Freight grade welder, so nothing fancy. Got her off of eBay actually, $100 less than what it goes in the store. It's a 180 amp 220 volt MIG welder. I'm not using the gas, I'm using the flex core. So again, welds are not pretty, but they seem to be very strong, and coming from stick welding, this is a heck of a lot easier to use. So again, next step is the tree over there, securing that, finishing the attachment there, and then the scraper bar, and then I'll take a wire wheel to it and clean it up and give it a coat of paint and rust proofing just to keep it from becoming a bucket of rust. Okay, so finally the plow has been dismantled and painted. Everything is nice and shiny and new looking right now. I just have to bolt it all up together, and I will give you one final look at it once it's all back together. So this is without really trying to line up, and this is soil is a little bit packed actually. See, there is little mounds of it, but it's been here all summer. Actually, this section right here has been here since last winter. So as you can see, it's exactly what I expected. It doesn't fill up the bucket, but this is probably 10 shovelfuls that I would have to do manually. So again, on soil, non-ideal conditions, it's actually doing a decent job. I did, since the first time I tried it, obviously I realized that I need to have chains perhaps, as well as wheel weights in the back, which I do have wheel weights. They're not on right now. I do have that block of steel there that I've been using for my winter snow blowing. So as you can see, it digs in a little bit here, but again, this is loose soil, and this is packed soil on this end. And this I've just been dumping it here with the eventual project of leveling this area off. So this is perfect for this application, and again, for my real intended application of gravel, mulch, which is obviously very light, and loam, delivered loam in a big pile. This is going to work really, really well. So again, have fun, build one. It's rewarding, and it actually works. Have fun. Bye.